Thank you for calling Late Night Taco Delivery. If you are calling to place an order, unfortunately the store is closed due to the fact that we are about to record a podcast. We'll be closed for another half an hour-ish. If you're calling to listen to the show, congratulations, you are just in time. So kick back, relax, and enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to Late Night Taco Delivery.
Late Night Taco Delivery! Yeah!
I'm your host, Daniel Gill.
And I'm Jonathan Knoll.
And we're here to talk about nerd stuff.
As always.
As always. How are you, my friend?
A bit busy, actually.
Oh?
Yeah, so my landlord came over to me at work the other day and asked if I could convert some tapes. Now, these are, like, little children's tapes, and they're all little golden books.
Okay.
Yeah, real charming stuff, except for the first one that I converted. It is called... Sorry, what?
The little engine that smoked pot?
No, it was called, Meet the Huggas, I think. It's very, very, very frightening. Let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, Meet the Hugga Bunch.
Oh, God. I remember Meet the Hugga Bunch.
Yeah.
That was a very strange child's toy line from the 80s.
Uh-huh. I thought so.
Yeah, and there was like a really disturbing movie that was made out of it, too. I think Nostalgic Critic actually did a whole thing on that once.
Really?
Yeah. He has like, dear God, kill me. This is horrifying.
Seriously, the whole time my family was going, this is either the plot to either the plot to Poltergeist or Time Bandits. Either way, it's fucked up. I'm also trying to convert some of the old MST3K tapes that I have in the house into DVDs.
Okay. I have them all
for posterity's sake.
I have everything on my computer, dude. Just, like, hand it over to me. You can burn them onto the DVD from that.
Oh, I've got all of them on DVD as well, but it's the on computer as well, but it's the experience of having all the commercials in there and all of that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned keep circulating the tapes.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
So
I haven't really been doing much. I've did a lot of working this past couple of weeks. Last week, and spent the day with my parents and my family at my parents' house. I built a grill.
Nice.
I proved I'm a man. That was pretty funny at one point. I'm putting it together with my Gerber multi-tool, the thing I always carry on my belt when I'm not at work, because apparently we're not allowed to have knives at work because they're afraid we're going to stab somebody.
Well, speaking as a newly minted cashier, I can totally understand why.
Yeah. But I'm like, it cost me $60. I try to use this as much as possible. Wouldn't a screwdriver work better for this stand? It cost me $60. I use it whenever possible. I'm trying to justify the $60 I paid for it. But
fair enough.
I ended up using a screwdriver, and it went a lot faster.
Mm.
And it made delicious, delicious hot dogs and brats.
Fantastic.
Then I watched, apparently the Independent Film Channel was having a Monkeys marathon.
Yeah, my sister told me about that.
Yep, so my sister and I watched a little bit of that. She was really big in the Monkeys during the 80s. Basically what happened was that MTV was having a Monkeys weekend.
Awesome.
They showed all the Monkeys episodes back to back, and that was it. That'd be it. The problem was that the ratings were so high that they brought it back again and again, and then basically started showing them, during the afternoons between videos, and then the Monkeys actually went back on tour. So MTV was responsible for the monkey renaissance, as it were.
That's a pretty good way of putting it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I actually replaced my old mic stand. So far, it looks better.
I'm still just using my headphones. They do the job. except when I trip.
They
over
certainly
them.
do.
Oh yeah. But what else am I reading? Well, one quick thing I'm geeking out about. It's a book called The Mortality Doctrine.
All right. What's about?
Well, it's written by the same person who wrote the Maze Runner series.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not impressed with the series itself, but that the writer was very good at what he was doing.
Okay.
And I'm only about maybe a quarter into the first book. There's 2 books out, and then the third one's will be released in November, so I'm wondering if I should just stop and wait till that comes out. But it's basically about an online world, virtual reality again, where
it's like you have a theme or something.
I know, but where a cyber terrorist named Kane is essentially turning people into vegetables where they can't escape the game. What was that?
It's the vegetable noise.
There's a vegetable noise?
There is now. Anyway, continue your story.
But apparently the writer was very, very inspired by Sword Art Online. So, that was what got me curious. I'm like, oh, I like Sword Art Online. I would like to read what this book is about. So, that is what I'm reading currently. That and the Mary Russell Mysteries, which is a pastiche off of Sherlock Holmes, but we'll talk about that later on in the episode.
Sweet. All right.
That's what we're doing this evening. Haha.
Yes. So you want to go on to the geek news?
Sure, why not?
All right. Since you have more stories, you start.
All right, I'll start with something neat. It's kind of simple.
All right.
Ryan Reynolds wants Hugh Jackman to make Deadpool cameo.
Nice.
Yep. Hugh Jackman says that he would really like to see Wolverine pop up. Apparently, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman became very good friends during the filming of X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And since their stories do loop in and out of each other all the time, he thought it would be a nice little nod to the series if Hugh Jackman would show up just for the film. And there has been nothing said, but Hugh Jackman seems like the kind of a cool dude who'd do it.
Oh yeah, they're both pretty rad people, so.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I have an article here of an interview with Lawrence Kasdan. Writer of screenwriter for Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So basically, the reason why those movies are pretty damn awesome.
And don't forget Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And here in this article, he says that Lando Calrissian does have a future in these new Star Wars movies. He's not in the movies. He's not in the current movie as yet.
Okay. But
there is a possible future for the character.
Huh.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay. Let's see. This was kind of funny.
Okay.
WWE Raw tonight.
Uh-oh.
For those who pay attention to such things. Stephen Amell, a.k.a. The Arrow.
Yeah.
Was there watching, and one of the characters, Stardust, got in his face. And was shouting at him about, you're not a real hero, you can't do what we do. And apparently, Stephen Amell posted later on his Twitter, "You tread carefully, Stardust, or I'll be back."
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm always amused when actors end up doing wrestling. I think it's hilarious. Like, I remember one time Hugh Jackman ended up clocking some guy.
Oh, Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. If I were to say, "Great Scott, Marty," you would, of course, know what I mean, right?
Well, of course. I know Dr. Scott from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Of course.
No, back to the Future, fools.
So you remember that awesome thing that I said, shut up and take my money about, Lego Dimensions?
Yes.
They produced a trailer that features Christopher Lloyd as reprising his role of Dr. Emmett Brown. Nice. to do the feature for Back to the Future Lego Dimensions.
Oh,
stuff.
That's awesome.
It was so cool.
I did actually watch it, and I was rather amused.
Oh, me too.
Let's see. Oh, another Ryan Reynolds story here.
Oh, yeah?
Ryan Reynolds, he's just like a really cool dude, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds makes boy's wish come true on Deadpool set.
Yes, I actually have the pictures up right now. They are really cool.
Yeah, meet Kid Deadpool, a.k.a. Tony Acevedo, a young boy diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. He made a wish to visit the Deadpool movie set through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and Ryan Reynolds granted the wish better than anyone could have imagined. He shared the Deadpool mask and gloves, then shared the experience on his Instagram page, fully confident that Ace Vito will beat the disease just as easily as he whipped Deadpool.
Nice.
So, Bat Kid, you have some competition now.
Oh, God. Speaking of Bat Kid, you remember how they're making a movie about that?
I'd heard something about that. Yeah, I don't know. We talked about it way, way back in one of the earlier episodes.
Yeah, and it was also featured on a Hollywood Babylon as well.
Right.
It's moving ahead in production.
Really?
Yep, it's being made.
Holy cow. That's actually pretty cool.
I agree. All right, your turn.
Well, yeah, okay. All right, you may be angry at this, you may not, I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Jaden Smith confirmed as Static Shock.
That was my things that should not be this week. No!
Hey, why not, man? He's young, he's attractive, he got the hair already. He was in, look, he made Karate Kid and he was good in that. We both agreed that we liked that movie. Now, granted, After Earth was pretty crappy, but, you know, that was M. Night Shyamalan. I blame him more than anything else.
I don't know.
You still hold him against the white Batman outfit against him, don't you?
A little bit. I'm sure he's an interesting person in person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if his Twitter feed is anything to go off of, then yeah, he's an interesting fellow.
That shit insane.
And because of that, I have no confidence. And really, the DCCU is not looking particularly great, in my opinion.
No,
I know I'm a Marvel all the way, but still, I like my DC. I like my DC.
Mm-hmm.
And this is.
They're doing some really weird stuff.
We took a left turn at Frank Miller and went straight into Goyerland. And I'm not looking forward to it.
But to continue on, since I've got more news than you do this week,
Mm.
I'll go ahead and continue on with the other portion of that, which I thought was kind of cool.
Okay.
Tyler James Williams confirms he's read for Marvel talks Spider-Man rumors.
Cool.
The Walking Dead and everybody hates Chris actor Tyler James Williams, a very nice looking young African American gentleman, revealed in a recent interview he has read for Marvel. He also comments on being suggested for Spider-Man fans to be considered for Miles Morales. He says, "I kind of followed the Miles Morales character quite a bit. My brother really did, so he suggested if it goes that way, it could work. And I'm open to the idea. I mean, I'm not like starting campaigns for it because I trust Marvel. I've read for them before, so I trust what their decisions will be. But yeah, I'd love to do it. I would absolutely love to do it. kind of who's the best for it. I'd be stoked to do it. So we talked a little bit about this last week on the show, right at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a Miles Morales as Spider-Man, or even
me
as
too.
secondary. You know, maybe even like a secondary Spider-Man.
And it'd be a perfect way to bring in the new Marvel universe as it's being formed.
Right. I mean, I'd even be cool with like Peter Parker in the first movie. In the second movie, there's a second Spider-Man running around. The mystery is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peter Parker has to solve it, and it turns out it's Miles Morales. And that would be perfectly cool with me.
That'd be pretty rad.
Mm-hmm. Get on it, Hollywood.
Please. All right. So you remember how they're talking about doing a Blade Runner 2?
Yes.
Well, the original cinematographer looks like he'll be coming back.
Huh.
Roger Deakins will rejoin director Denis Villeneuve on the hugely anticipated Blade Runner sequel.
Well, at least it'll be a beautiful-looking piece of crap.
There already is a sequel, you know.
There's a book, I know that.
Exactly. So I don't know. There is precedence for it.
I don't know. I just consider Blade Runner. He was inspired by Philip K. Dick's Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, and it was just such a perfect movie by itself. It leaves so many questions unanswered that just don't need to be answered, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
The movie is going to go, oh, by the way, here's what it was. Here's everything you thought. is wrong.
Put down your pencils. All the answers will now be shown on the board.
Step back from the film, Mr. Lucas.
All right, you're up.
No, I had the last one.
No, I did. I was
wait.
Blade Runner one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It movies lose director Cary Fukunaga.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
Yeah, it is Memorial Day weekend to remember for Cary Fukunaga, but not for the best of reasons. Apparently, he has stepped back because they were going to make he could not bring the budget into his scripting into the budget that the film that the New Line was giving him. He was going to basically do 2 movies. One was going to be about the kids, and the second one was going to be about the adults, both versus the evil It, as portrayed by the clown Pennywise. This really leaves the movie in a bad position because it was supposed to start filming in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's not great.
No.
That's too bad. I mean, not like I was actually looking forward to it, but still, it always saddens me to see something like that just turn for the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So Pac-Man turned 35 this week.
Yes. The great old Japanese character Pac-Man. Waka 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 waka.
Whose original name was Puck-Man.
But was changed. Yeah.
If you watched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
I didn't really see that, but I've actually heard that story before. They changed it for obvious reasons.
Yeah, very, very obvious reasons.
Just take P and change it to an F, and then you've got a problem.
Yeah, and add a K, man.
Well, even then. But still, they did shut that down.
Yep.
Well, happy birthday, Pac-Man. You have done a great job over the last 35 years. You're still getting played. You're still getting referenced. Even that horrifically bad movie coming out called Pixels has a very funny scene with you.
I saw the trailer for that one at Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah, same here.
Kill it! Kill it with fire! Kill it! Kill it!
I just sank down on my chair and read my Kindle till it was over. I'm like, I'm gonna read something decent.
Seriously, I saw that, and then I saw the Star Wars trailer, and that one brought me to tears.
Mm-hmm.
So, stop it, Adam Sandler. Just stop it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you need something happy.
Okay, I'm ready. Something happy.
Chris Pratt once again proves he's the most awesome human being alive.
I can deal with this.
Chris Pratt apologizes in advance for potentially offensive behavior on Jurassic World Press Tour. This is what he said. I want to make a heartfelt apology for whatever it is I ended up accidentally saying during the forthcoming Jurassic World Press Tour. I hope you understand it was never my intention to offend anyone, and I'm truly sorry, I swear. I'm the nicest guy in the world, and I fully regret what I accidentally will have had said in the upcoming foreign and domestic interviews. I'm not in the business of making excuses. I'm just dumb, plain and simple. I try. I really try. When I do, potentially, commit the offensive act for which I am now pre-apologizing, you must understand I will likely have been tired and exhausted when I potentially said that thing I will have said. And it just keeps going on and on and on.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I am fully aware of the subject matter of my imminent forthcoming mistake, a blunder, possibly to be dubbed Jurassic Gate, is most likely in no way a laughing matter. To those I will have likely have had offended, please rest assured I will do everything in my power to make sure this doesn't happen again.
That's gorgeous.
After all the trouble they had with the Avengers and people saying things about Black Widow, Chris Pratt just headed it off at the pass. I love it.
Yeah. And it really does throw a big old bag of flaming dog shit on the press's doorstep. Just, hey, by the way, I know everybody's gonna misconstrue something.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is just the way the internet works these days.
Yes, it is.
Well, something else that's happy.
Okay.
So you remember how George Romero is responsible for creating the modern zombie?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, he basically created what... And the thing is that zombies are never actually mentioned in Night of the Living Dead. They're called ghouls.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Well, we've got a new segment in the Living Dead series.
Okay.
And it's a TV series
Ah.
called Empire of the Dead.
I think I read something about that, but I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, it's based on his 15-issue graphic novel published by Marvel Comics. And it's going to be written by Romero and Peter Grunwald.
Nice. Well,
So
it could be interesting. Could be have some potential. Maybe the people will be smarter than they are in The Walking Dead.
maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Every time I watch a zombie movie or everything, I always feel like people are just incredibly dumb.
The whole point of that whole everybody's really dumb, it's become a trope, but there's a reason it's a trope. It's because the idea of a zombie is to put a pale mirror to humanity as itself, because humans are, as said by Agent K, humans are dumb, panicky animals. Well, people are dumb, panicky animals.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Okay. Let's see here. Twin Peaks Revival will have 18 episodes.
Woohoo!
The Showtime, which does include David Lynch, because remember we talked last week that he'd returned to production on the new Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
They've upped the episodes from, I think it was 10 to 18.
Yes.
And series stars Sherilyn Fenn and Cheryl Lee have reportedly revealed the information during Twin Peaks panel at Crypticon in Seattle this weekend, according to various sources.
Sweet. Can't wait.
By the way,
Mhm.
quick aside, Glass City Con 5 coming up August 29th and 30th. Toledo.
Yes.
We need to go. All
Okay.
right, we'll make flyers.
When is it?
August 29th and 30th.
All right.
Plenty
I'll probably
of
be
time.
back in town.
Okay, plenty of time to put in time for off work. That's
Yes.
right, because you're taking your epic train trip. I forgot about that.
Yes, I am.
Okay, anyway.
All right. I've got one last piece of geek news.
Okay.
Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, you stole mine, you bastard.
Yeah, but it's been a while since I've done one.
Yeah.
We have a new movie, Legend of Conan. It will be a direct sequel to the original 1982 film with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And, yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it.
Conan, what is best in life? To chug Metamucil, to take long walks in the morning, and to watch opera. Sorry, he's in his 60s. I'm gonna watch the absolute living hell out of this movie, because this is the film I've been waiting for a long time.
Oh, me too.
Arnold is still pretty cool. He's actually having a contest right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's Come Blow Shit Up with Arnold.
How do I get in this?
You basically, it's like for $10, for every dollar you donate to after-school programs for kids, it's like a web page he's got set up. I'll post it to the Radioactive Walrus page.
Please
for every dollar you get, and you have a chance of winning a chance to go out to California and drive around with Arnold in his freaking tank and a group of special effects artists and blow shit up.
Nice!
And they make a movie out of it.
Nice.
Yes. So there are this raises millions of dollars he does this once a year, and it's just Arnold being Arnold. He is,
and
the
that's
Austrian
just the way we
oak.
want him.
Exactly. He's big, he's loud, he's brash, he's stuck on his stogie, he's carrying M16s and going, "Hasta la vista, baby." But yes, I am looking forward to the Conan the Barbarian movie. It looks like it'll be fun. I'm really hoping it goes off well. I'm hoping that they actually do involve John Milius. He is recovering. He's close to being back to where he was before his stroke.
That'd be awesome.
So he won't be able to direct it, obviously, but hopefully he can put some. His mind's still as sharp as anything. He can put in some story ideas.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got a little bit of station news, actually.
Okay.
I'm adding a new podcast to the roster.
Ooh.
Now this one is kind of a selective audience, but it should generate something. What I'm doing is I am taking all of my friends who are fans of the webcomic Homestuck.
Okay.
And on a weekly volunteer basis, have said people show up on Google Hangouts,
okay,
and we will basically do a Reader's Theater version of Homestuck.
Okay.
Almost, 7 years now?
Jesus.
Well, it started back in It started back on April 13th, 2008. Because 4/13 is a very important date.
Okay.
And it's still going.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
You know, it takes long breaks.
Yes. That is one of the most cardinal pieces of information about Homestuck. It takes very long breaks.
Definitely.
But yes, Readers Theater, Homestuck Readers Theater Hour. And it should be posting like Friday night, on Fridays.
Okay.
So records Thursday, posts on Friday.
Very cool. All right, here's one for you.
Uh-oh.
Neville Longbottom's enormous wand has the internet spellbound. Did you see this?
No.
Bid farewell to the sweet, chubby-cheeked Neville Longbottom of your youth. Matthew Lewis, who plays the young wizard in each Harry Potter film, revealed a newly ripped physique on the cover of Attitude magazine. And there's a picture of him sitting wearing a cardigan with open, which revealing a very chiseled chest, and a pair of very, very tighty whities with his, let's just say, his wand was well chosen.
Okay, send this to me. Like yesterday.
It's funny as shit.
Oh,
Especially J.K. Rowling's comment about it. J.K. Rowling. Not as bad as watching Dan and Equus, but close. Warn me next time for God's sake.
Oh! Ah! Ah!
Are you okay?
Equus! Ah!
I take it you've seen it.
Ah!
It is quite painful, isn't it?
Ah!
But you got to see Daniel. You got to see Daniel Radcliffe's wand in that one as well. Okay. Anyway, to finish this, Matthew said, "Well, this is awkward. Sorry, Joe." And she said, "I will always support whatever you want to do, Matthew. Now go put some clothes on." And then someone else posted a picture of Neville from the first movie and the Neville of what he looks now. And it says, "Transformation goals, Neville Longbottom."
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Equus.
Alright, let's see. I don't want to do this one? Yeah, might as well.
Go for it.
Charlie Challenge sees teens using pencils, paper in an attempt to summon Mexican demon child.
I saw something about this.
Apparently, it's a little bit like a Ouija board kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what I saw.
Basically involves putting two pencils on one piece of paper in the shape of a cross. Participants have written the words yes and no in boxes outlined in pencils. Then the participants say, "Charlie, Charlie, are you here?" When the pencil begins to move and points to yes, Charlie is apparently ready to answer the kids' yes or no questions. So they've been posting about posting their own videos, and apparently sometimes the pencils move on their own and people run and freak out. But the problem is a decent wind will blow off these pencils. So it's not a big scary thing. But still, it's the latest weird internet shit.
Fair enough.
And as Flanders would say, Christ is watching. Diddly doody.
Oh, got one other piece of geek news.
Okay.
This just in.
Sorry.
So, May 25th, which is technically when we started recording this, is not only Memorial Day this year, but it also memorializes another man. Douglas Adams died today in 2001.
Aww.
And as the years have progressed, today, May 25th, is Towel Day.
I forgot to wear my towel today, damn it.
Same. Wish somebody would tell me these things.
Yeah. Well, actually, another thing that happened on May 25th of 1977.
Yes, very important day.
Yeah, it was this is the day that the original Star Wars was released.
I just wish Tim were here on the show to tell us this.
Yeah. Man, okay, so that's 38 years ago. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm old. Okay, never mind.
We're almost at 50 years of Star Wars, man.
40 years. Almost 40 years.
I know.
Yeah, we're getting
but after 40 is 50.
Yeah, well, 50 is the new 40, so.
Right.
Alright. Okay, dude, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
We had a reprieve for a number of weeks. This is our shit that should not be this evening. Reese Witherspoon cast as Tinkerbell in live-action Disney film. Reese Witherspoon is officially attached to star in Disney's Tink, their live-action film based on the Peter Pan character Tinkerbell. Disney continues setting up live-action adaptations of popular films they've had success with in the past, and we think Reese will be perfect as Tinkerbell.
God damn it, Disney! What the fuck is wrong with you? I have had it. I try to support you in whatever the fuck you're doing because right now you own my childhood and for the most part my adulthood. Still, Jesus Christ. Stop it!
Well, considering, unfortunately, the Tomorrowland movie didn't tank, but it didn't make nearly as much money as they figured it was going to. They were really kind of worried about, their properties right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it made... Yeah, it's pretty horrible to say. It only made $41 million over the weekend. I mean, we have reached the point where a $41 million opening is not that big anymore.
Inflation.
I was reading something about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And when the first weekend it opened back in '89, it made $15 million. Wow. And that was considered a huge opening at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it made many times over its budget, but still.
Right.
Damn. Crap, where'd it go? Oh, and I also got one funny little thing. This is just a funny little hee-hee.
Something to take the out of the situation.
10 old-fashioned swears to spice up your cussin'.
Oh my god.
People don't swear like they used to. As long ago as 1944, H.L. Mencken, the great observer of American language, sadly noted that cursing had been on the decline since the Civil War. Here we go. Here's some good ones for you.
Please.
Number 1, bejabbers. A substitute for by Jesus. This is similar to bejesus, but jabbier. An Irish import along the lines of Faith Magoria, especially good for toe stubbing.
Bejabbers!
Consarn it! A substitute for goddammit from the 1854 Dictionary of North Hampshire words. Consarn you. If you don't mind what you're about, I'll give it to you.
That one is actually commonly said in Utah.
Okay. Dad sizzle it. Another goddamn form. There's a whole line of dad forms, from dadgum to dad blast, dad seas, dad rat, dad swamp, and many more. Thunderation, a substitute for damnation, similar to tarnation and botheration. WTF is so tired. Try what in thunderation instead?
I can dig it.
Great horn spoon. Something you can swear by using a way similar to by God. It seems to have come from seafaring language and may refer to the Big Dipper. But you don't need to know its origin to find it useful. Today, the strange randomness of the words make it feel mystically satisfying to shout.
I can dig it.
Snails. A shortening of by God's nails. This kind of shortening also gives us zounds, equals God's wounds, Godzooks, God's hooks, struth, God's truth, and odds bodkins, God's little body. If you yell at thinking of actual nails instead, it's less profane, but more adorable.
There you
go. G. Rover Cripes.
Jesus H. Christ.
No, it's approximate the sounds in Jesus H. Christ.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Okay. But Saint Booger and all the saints at the backside door of purgatory.
Oh, that's beautiful!
There is no Saint Booger. This is a line from Sterne's Tristram Shandy, considered by scholars to have an homoerotic subtext. Let it fly with pride.
I now want a Saint Booger to bless our little station here.
Our little podcast, huh?
Yes. Bless you, Saint Booger.
By Saint Booger and all the saints at the backside door of purgatory.
We do bless you.
And number 10, by the double-barrel jumpin' Jiminy.
By the double-barrel jumpin' Jibbity.
It's too bad the tradition of productive long by the swears have fallen out of fashion. You could load enough crazy-sounding nonsense on there to really scare your kids into cleaning their rooms.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Jesus, dick whittling Christ.
No, the idea is to not swear. Just use things that sound swear.
Dick whittling is not a swear, last I checked.
No, dick. If you're whittling your dick, that's pretty swearage. I wouldn't want to whittle my dick. I prefer my dick the size it is. Thank you very much.
I'm sure some people do whittle dicks, though.
Well,
I believe they're called moils.
Maybe they're wearing rabbit masks and saying "Happy Birthday" while they're doing it.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Johnny. Okay. And on this especially late night taco delivery.
Oh man.
It is time
We should
to
just end on that. It's like, fuck it, we'll do that for the actual episode later. We'll just like going out going.
No, I feel like maybe we should give these people their money's worth. Not that we ever do,
Yeah,
but
we don't pay anything, you know. Okay.
Right.
Oh my god. So anyway, what the hell were we talking about? I don't remember anymore. Oh, yeah. No, one of my favorite swears, real quick, is Mother Puss Bucket. I got that from Bill Murray from Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Yeah. Hell, I used that one
I
at work.
never knew where it came from. I've just been using it for years. Anyway, okay.
Mother Puss Bucket.
Mother Puss Bucket.
Nobody steps on a church in my town. Anyway.
If someone asks if you're God,
you say yes.
All right. Anyway.
Yes. Enough ghost busting.
Our show tonight is brought to you by the letters S and H and the number pipe.
You could also do 221B.
Ah, yes, 221B. The home of Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
And his friend, Dr. Watson.
Mm-hmm.
We're basically talking a little bit about Sherlock Holmes tonight. We've been doing it's one of my favorite series, one of my favorite characters. It's pretty much one of the most popular characters in the world.
Absolutely. And Dan has been wanting to do an episode on a book character for a while. Yeah,
honestly, Sherlock Holmes is probably the most portrayed character in modern media.
Absolutely.
I can't think of anyone else besides him that has appeared in so many things. And I've also heard that the Sherlock Holmes novels are second only to like the Bible in certain countries for publication and reading.
Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk a little bit about where Sherlock Holmes began.
All right. First appearance?
First appearance was a novel called Study in Scarlet, which appeared in the Strand magazine in 1887.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Actually, it's Beaton's Christmas Annual in 1987. I'm sorry, 1887.
I said 1887. But it was Beaton's Christmas Annual. And then the second one was the Sign of Four in Lippincot's Monthly Magazine. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they started appearing in the Strand magazine.
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes himself was based on someone that
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle knew.
Mm-hmm. He was a doctor. Actually.
Yes, he was a doctor, and I can't remember the guy's name. Crap.
Let's see. Inspiration. Yes. Joseph Bell.
Thank you.
A surgeon at the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh.
Right. He actually had that ability that Sherlock Holmes always did, which Sherlock Holmes always called it a parlor trick, but he could look at someone coming into his office and tell him much about him, whether he was like left-handed or what he did for a living, how many kids he had, what he ate for breakfast, if he had a dog or a cat. And he could just do it by simple observation. Now, Sherlock Holmes is a very fascinating character because he's the quintessential Gary Stu character.
Yeah.
He's never at a loss. He always figures everything out. But
he is a deus ex machina of a junkie.
Yes. He's the detective who never fails. But because he is so good at what he does, and we're told the stories through Dr. Watson's eyes, we are just as amazed as Dr. Watson is when Sherlock Holmes opens up the case. Haha.
Yes.
Things that Sherlock Holmes were known for: master of disguise, had been a minor theater actor at some point in his life.
Mm-hmm. Very big fan of classical music, or really any music of any kind.
Yeah, loved his
always
violin.
Conducting.
Always loved his violin.
Mm-hmm.
Was considerably asexual through most of his life.
Yes.
Even though there's the one character that keeps coming back up over and over and over again, Irene Adler, who's known as the woman.
Yes, and she showed up in A Scandal in Bohemia, the first story in the Strand magazine.
Yes, and it's actually considered one of the true classics of the Sherlock Holmes pantheon, I guess is what you call it.
It was the first one I ever read.
I read Sherlock Holmes. I mean, well, obviously, I grew up with Sherlock Holmes.
Right. Who didn't?
Right. The local PBS channel used to show the Sherlock Holmes movies from the 1930s and 40s.
The Basil Rathbone ones?
The Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce ones. Even the ones that were set during World War II, which were always kind of amusing. It's like, wait, what? Sherlock Holmes versus the Nazis? Something's wrong here.
I don't know. If we can have the Punisher versus the Nazis, why the fuck not? Actually, Punisher versus Archie, why the fuck can we not have Sherlock Holmes versus the Nazis?
Yeah. But yeah, basically went on. The Holmesian detective is simplicity in self. My eyes tell me that the inside of your left shoe, just where the firelight strikes it, this leather is scored by 6 almost parallel cuts, obviously made by someone who's very carelessly scraped around the edges of the sole in order to remove crusted mud from it. Very. Hence, you see my double deduction that you have been out in vile weather. You have a particularly malignant boot-slitting specimen of the London slivey. So, very strange writing for the time for our time period now. I mean, I remember reading Sonny and Scarlet back in 7th grade for a book report, and giggling maniacally when I came across the line, Watson ejaculated.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, it's stupid, but it was funny at the time.
Well, who doesn't love a dick joke? I mean, hell, Shakespeare loved a dick joke.
Oh, yeah. But, the series went on for a number of years.
Only 4 stories are not narrated by Watson. Right.
One's the Adventure of the Lion's Mane, I believe one called.
Yes, and the other one is the Adventure of the Blanchard Soldier, which are both narrated by Holmes. And there are 2 others that are written in the third person, the Adventure of the Mazarin Stone and His Last Bow.
His Last Bow was actually the last Sherlock Holmes story ever written.
Yes.
And it's set right before the outbreak of World War I.
Yep.
It was right about the time when Sherlock Holmes had already left his life as a consulting detective and moved to the country to raise bees.
Yep.
So everyone knows the stories of Sherlock Holmes. Everyone is at least somewhat familiar with them.
I remember my first exposure to Sherlock Holmes was through a show on very early in the mornings on Fox Kids, and it was Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd Century, which I really loved. It was the place where I fell in love with the engineer's thumb, and it featured Sherlock Holmes having been cryogenically frozen, much like Captain America. Being revived in the 22nd century, where Dr. Watson is a cyborg.
When Sherlock Holmes throws his mighty hat.
It was cool.
Well, I remember, like I said, the first time I ever saw them was the old Basil Rathbone, Nigel Bruce, which unfortunately had the effect of showing that Watson being kind of a buffoon.
Yeah.
And he really wasn't. He was actually He was very, very intelligent, but he was more of a man of action than Sherlock Holmes himself was.
Yeah. Plus, it is basically sitting next to a guy who can basically figure out anything.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to be... There's always going to be a point where it's like, yeah, you're intelligent, but Watson would have been a very credible detective on his own.
Yeah.
But he was up against, essentially, a god. But there's also, remember, Brave Star was a TV series in the 80s. It was a really weird sci-fi show.
Yes, it's shown up once or twice on the air.
Although there was a backdoor pilot for Sherlock Holmes in the future there as well.
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of interesting.
But yeah, I love that series. I wish I could track it down. I probably should be able to.
It's probably somewhere on one of those sites that we don't talk about.
Yes.
Yep. The series was very, very successful for Arthur Conan Doyle, who grew to loathe his famous detective.
Yeah.
Well, Doyle had his own ideas about certain things. He was also a very big believer in spiritualism.
Right.
And Sherlock Holmes never was. Sherlock Holmes was a believer in what he can see, what he can feel, what he can touch. He believed that, yes, there may be an outside world, but until there is proof, it means nothing to him.
Right.
Outside is in ghosts and goblins and shit like that. And
right.
So finally, out of desperation, Doyle decided to kill off Sherlock Holmes.
Yes. In the final problem,
which introduced another character who only appeared once.
but shows up again and again.
Again and again, Professor Moriarty, the Napoleon of crime, who's described as a bit like a spider with numerous webs that out through Europe.
Yes.
And Sherlock defeats him. And they both take a tumble off Reichenbach Falls.
Yep.
And Watson believes that both have died. And that's the end of the series.
Yes.
The problem is that people were so angry with Doyle for killing off Sherlock Holmes that there was, almost public riots.
Mm-hmm.
And so a number of years later, finally, well, for one thing, during what the time period when he was not writing new Sherlock Holmes stuff, Doyle took a trip onto the moors in England and went, this would be a really cool place for a Sherlock Holmes novel. So he wrote Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yes. Not
saying he's like, no, I have not resurrected the character. This is, a new story from an older time. But then later on in the Adventure of the Empty House, he returned Sherlock Holmes to life.
Yes. Where
they ended up tangling with Sebastian Moran, who was another character who keeps popping up, who is Moriarty's second right-hand man. He's the greatest game hunter in India until he'd been kicked out of the military for being an asshole.
And I find it interesting the references that spiral out of these characters too. Like, you know the reason that the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen originally formed?
Because of the death of Sherlock Holmes.
Bingo. Do you know who owns McCavity from Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats?
Moriarty?
Moriarty.
I did not know that.
Yep.
That is interesting.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, McCavity is Moriarty's cat.
Huh.
I like it.
Sort of like Basil of Baker Street lives in Sherlock Holmes' basement.
Yeah.
Lives in the baseboards.
Mm-hmm. And Professor Ratigan.
Ratigan. I'm still waiting for my live-action version of Grey Mouse Detective. I mean, everything else Disney's doing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Now, it's not to say that, Doyle did try to root everything he did in reality.
Yes.
The operative term is tried.
There is really no Sherlock Holmes. There are people who are like Sherlock Holmes, but there is no Sherlock Holmes.
Right, but there are some episodes, some of the the short stories which veer very, very dangerously into science fiction.
Yes.
Like The Adventure of the Creeping Man.
I recall that one. I don't remember reading it all the way through.
Basically, a woman came in worried about her father because she had seen him creeping around in an unnatural manner, and he seemed to have more vitality than an older man should have. Basically, he had monkey testes inserted in himself, and they were taking over his body, turning essentially into a monkey.
Beautiful. Bravo.
Since then, that's been one of the ones that the other Sherlock Holmes authors has started to pass off as, Watson was dying for a story or something. Yeah, that's one thing I really should talk a little bit about is Sherlock Holmes essentially invented fan fiction.
Yes.
So many people were so angry when Doyle killed off Holmes that they started writing their own stories.
Mm-hmm.
And because the copyright wasn't as strong as it is now, they were published all over the place.
Yeah.
They were published in various magazines and such, and Doyle started, that's another reason why Doyle started making the new Sherlock Holmes stories, is because he was tired of tracking down lawyers, people who were publishing unauthorized Sherlock Holmes stories.
Makes sense to me.
Now, what they are called is called pastiches.
Yes.
It's a term for writing in the style of another author.
Mm-hmm.
And there are hundreds of Sherlock Holmes. Holy freaking cow. I can't even name them all.
There are also other authors who do this kind of thing. H.G. Wells did that with A Journey to the Moon.
Yeah.
Which is originally Jules Verne's book.
Okay, I know that.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah. But being that Sherlock Holmes can fit into so many different time periods and so many different places, he's been used and readjusted and redefined for well over a century.
Yeah.
I mean, even today, there are two very popular shows on television based on Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
There is the Sherlock, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman.
Yep, which I rather like.
I can appreciate it. I've just never gotten into it.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched the first couple episodes, and it's a little too long for my taste, I guess. And then there's Elementary, which stars the actor Johnny Lee Miller and
Lucy Liu.
Lucy Liu as his Watson. And it's actually not half bad. I've watched a number of episodes of it. I actually kind of prefer that to the Sherlock.
I am exactly the other way around. I tried to watch a couple episodes, just didn't work for me.
But that one has been, Sherlock has been just uprooted from England and dropped in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And the main characters keep showing up: Moriarty and Irene Adler and his brother Mycroft. And another thing that really makes the Sherlock Holmes interesting is there's not a lot known about his past. There's things hinted at. I mean, Watson himself didn't even know he had a brother until the adventure of the Greek interpreter.
Yes, and I think he's just mentioned there.
No, Mycroft is the one that actually brings the story to him.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe I'm wrong. I know that they basically have to go to the Diogenes Club, where Mycroft spends the majority of his time when he's not working, and it's a gentleman's club which is known specifically for the fact that no one's allowed to talk to anyone else. So you have to, if you need to talk to someone in the club, you have to go to the strangers' room, and then the butler will bring you in there, and you talk. But if you try to talk to anyone outside in the main public area, security will come and throw your ass out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 221B Baker Street actually didn't exist for many, many years.
It's true.
It was the spot was actually held by a bank.
Mm-hmm.
At 221 Baker Street, and for a while they actually had to incorporate. They actually had to hire someone to work full time to answer letters to Sherlock Holmes.
That's awesome.
People wrote thinking that Sherlock Holmes was a real person because he was so well fleshed. He seemed so real.
Mm-hmm.
They, write questions about their missing spouses, or think that someone's having an affair, or missing money, and then pretty much every time the answer was, "We do apologize, but Mr. Holmes has retired to beekeeping in such and such a place. Please do not bother him anymore."
Yes.
But as I mentioned before, Sherlock Holmes has been adapted and thrust into so many different areas over the years. Just looking at my Kindle right now, I've got Dust and Shadow, an account of the Ripper killings, which is one of at least 7 books I know of Sherlock Holmes versus the
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. The House of Silk, which is a series. It's the House of Silk. Oh, sorry. The Study in Silk, Study in Ashes, and Study in something else. But it basically deals with Sherlock Holmes' niece in a steampunk world.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about that.
Yeah, steampunk and Sherlock Holmes seem to go together quite well. It's almost as much as steampunk and Sherlock Holmes and Cthulhu. Seen a lot of that.
What?
Too. What?
What?
Oh God, there's some amazing stuff with that.
Okay.
You're having problems with this idea?
That's the thing. Sherlock Holmes is such a well-fleshed-out character. Almost realistic. What the fuck is Cthulhu doing there?
Well, it's more along the lines of the Cthulhu mythos than anything else.
Yeah, still, what the fuck?
Okay, you need to read The Study in Emerald.
Clearly.
Written by Neil Gaiman. It actually won a number of awards when it was written. And it's about, a Cthulhu-like world where British Empire was taken over by the old gods years before, and it's actually very well written. Okay, where is that name of that? I wanted to read you this because it made me laugh so damn hard the first time I read it.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, here we go. One of the books I've got is called The Whitechapel, the final stand of Sherlock Holmes, and there's two versions of it. There's one that is written as if it was actually from, Victorian times in the deep sewers and the deep alleys and such. Mm-hmm. And it's full of violence and sex and evil stuff. And it's about Sherlock Holmes tracking down Jack the Ripper.
Right.
And it's bloody as hell. Well, the author later on went and did, this is one of the pastiches, he went and did a gentleman's version. And this is what it says. The following edition of Whitechapel, the final stand of Sherlock Holmes, contains no profanity and edited versions of the violence that appears in the original version. However, it is not suitable for children or those of a weak constitution. This story is a factual representation of the crimes of Jack the Ripper, a sadistic, ritualized serial killer who existed in Victorian times. There are still scenes that discuss and show his deeds. I felt it necessary to make this version available to readers who would like to enjoy Whitechapel, but are not prepared to face the stark reality of the crimes and times in which they occurred. And also, perhaps most importantly, Mom, you're allowed to read the book now.
Perfect.
Yes, I thought that was rather amusing. But no, there's Sherlock Holmes. Another book I've read called, it's A Study in Lavender, which looks at the homoerotic, homosexual... No. It's really well written, dude. It's really well written.
You've mentioned this before. All right, it's time for the show to go into the... Where do relationships fall into this world? Go.
Well, honestly, the funny thing is, there's only one story in the entire book about, Holmes and Watson kind of hooking up, and all they do is kiss once. The rest of it is about homosexuality in Victorian era and how Sherlock Holmes dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
Solving crimes that involve jealous lovers or prejudices. And it just was really well written. I enjoyed it. It was a collection of stories, different people.
Fair enough.
And there, it is the obvious, pastiche. You got two grown men living together, and Sherlock. It just seems like Doyle was constantly shoving, Watson's heterosexuality out. Like, look, they're not gay. They're not gay. Look, he's got a wife. Ooh, look, he is well-mannered. He likes women. Ooh, look.
And that's just fine by me.
Yeah, but
I don't have anything against gay people or anything like that. It's
the other thing about Sherlock Holmes is he's a great character who gets reflected in the lens of the time period that we read it from, not from the lens period of what it was.
Yes.
So, of course, there's going to be some homoerotic context in what we're seeing today.
Yeah. But as it stands today, or as it stood back then, there was no question about it.
No, they were just two gentlemen that happened to share a flat together.
Exactly.
But still, I thought it was an interesting take. The character can be portrayed in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I was doing when I was researching the show was looking at some of the various media presentations of the character.
Yes.
Going all the way back to 1908 when the first Sherlock Holmes movie was ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, hold on a second here. Okay.
Let's see.
Starring an actor named Robert Webb.
Mm-hmm.
Who...
Silent, of course.
Oh, wait, I take that back. No, I'm sorry. No, the first one was 1905. Well, sorry, Wikipedia lied to me. Gee, what a shocker. No, a guy named Max Sennett, the $500 reward, which was filmed in 1905. And, I'm sorry, 1911.
Right.
And we started getting to Sherlock Holmes. William Gillette, who had played Sherlock Holmes on stage numerous times.
Yes.
Specifically started in 1899, and then in 1916 he reprised the role in a silent film.
Mm-hmm.
We got the great John Barrymore playing him in 1922.
Right.
And then we started basically... He's been played by well over 100 people.
Absolutely.
And, what is this?
Let's see.
Okay, there were some British movies that were made. from 31 to 37, starring Arthur Wantner.
Right.
He looks very much like the part. Very standard. The hawk nose, the high hairline. They made the Silver Blaze, the Sign of the Four, the Missing Rembrandt, the Sleeping Cardinal. And it wasn't until 1939 that the Basil Rathbone movies started coming out, and there were a lot of them.
Yes.
I mean,
prolific is the word.
Prolific is a very good term for this guy. Hounds of Baskervilles, Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, The Voice of Terror. Then we started getting into Sherlock Holmes in Washington and Sherlock Holmes and the Secret Weapon. By the end of all these, it's like, no, basically you just have the character. We have nothing to do with the original stories.
Yeah. And it got to the point where Rathbone was so recognizable as Sherlock Holmes that he was typecast all the time.
Yeah.
So he just really couldn't get work, which is part of why whenever I watch the MST3K episode, The Magic Sword, I always laugh especially hard at Joel's comment, that guy played Sherlock Holmes. He played Sherlock Holmes.
Let's see. There's John Cleese played him at one point.
Of course.
The Strange Case of the End of Civilization as We Know It. It's a low-budget spoof of the Sherlock Holmes detectives.
Beautiful.
From 1977.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Nimoy played him at one point, playing him on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole Williamson played him in the very, very good film, The 7% Solution, which is based on a Nicholas Meyer novel, where turns out Moriarty was actually a figment of Sherlock Holmes' imagination, because he was drugged out all the time.
Right.
And Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson end up going to try to get Sherlock help from Dr. Sigmund Freud. This is one of those pastiches I was talking about.
Right. You really love your pastiches.
Well, when you run out of the original books, you got to do something. You got to feed your addiction somehow.
And my friend, you are addicted.
Oh God, yes. We even had the 1985 Young Sherlock Holmes, which I really quite enjoyed.
Yes, I still have it on DVD.
Was directed by Barry Levinson and produced by Sherlock Holmes, written by Chris Columbus.
Chris Columbus.
Yeah, it was also the first. I think we talked a little bit about the history of special effects. That this was the first one to ever use computer generation character.
Yes, a fully realized computer generated character,
which was the Stained Glass Knight. And it's today. Even the funny thing is, even today, it still holds up.
It still
30
looks
years
awesome.
later, it still worked quite nicely. And as I mentioned, a Sherlock Hound, which was a cartoon, was a very steampunk style cartoon from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually directed by Hayao Miyazaki.
Nice.
Who later they did about 26 episodes. It was an Italian Japan production.
Mm-hmm.
There were some minor differences, like Mrs. Hudson was much more major character, and she was played as a young woman, young widow, much more active, more action oriented. And like I said, there's 26 episodes, and unfortunately, there was a dust up with the rights for the name of the character of Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
So they shut down production. They were straightening it out, and Miyazaki went out and did Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind, and discovered he liked doing movies a lot more.
Right.
So they never continued on the series, which is kind of sad because for 26 episodes they were pretty well done.
Sorry, you say Miyazaki, and I automatically think of the Warriors of the Wind cover that you sent me, way back when.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that at Animarathon the other when I was there.
Oh no!
And I just laughed my fool head off.
You saw the poster, or you saw the
the poster?
Okay, because the dub is awful. You keep making fun of me. You keep making fun of me for liking the Akira dub from '88.
Yeah, because it's awful.
Yeah, Nausicaa makes that look like Macbeth.
Ooh, you're throwing shade today.
Oh, Warriors of the Wind is awful. Now, one thing I was unable to get, unfortunately, was what's considered by many Sherlock Holmes scholars the definitive performance of Sherlock Holmes. It's called The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and Watson. It's a series of television films produced in Russia, of all places.
Really?
Between 79 and 86, they produced a number of different movies. They produced the Hounds Hound of the Baskervilles, The Sign of Four and Scandal Bohemia, The Adventure of the Engineer's Thumb, The Adventure of the Second Stain, His Last Bow. Unlike some of their Western counterparts, the films are very close to literary source. Some of the departures include Holmes' easygoing and humorous demeanor, and some comic relief for some of the characters. But it was shot in Old Riga, which is a small Russian town, which looks very much similar to Victorian England.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, there was never mentioned of any of his cocaine use, because drug use was banned in Soviet television.
Mm-hmm.
And the location of Watson's army service was changed from Afghanistan to colonies in the east, since it was believed parallels could be drawn with the Soviet army that had recently invaded Afghanistan, which would in turn change the audience's perception of Watson's character.
That makes sense.
But yeah, and it was extremely popular. It was one of the most popular shows they had. And apparently there is a secondary show, which is I've not seen. It was produced in 2013. It was another Russian TV drama, and was just as popular. And I have no more information, unfortunately.
That's really too bad, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing some of those subtitled.
One of the biggest influences on Sherlock Holmes that I remember also is his prolific radio life. Because I, for some reason, didn't watch a lot of Sherlock Holmes as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I would listen to it on cassette tapes of radio plays. So we have, of course. In the 1930s, writer, actress, and producer Edith Meiser brought Holmes to the home for American radio listeners. They were all narrated by Dr. Watson himself.
Okay.
One of the ones that I remember was I don't remember what the story was, but I remember the way that Holmes figured it out was because he had found pillow lint on a smothered woman. It was brilliant.
Sounds like something Sherlock Holmes would do, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Other famous characters to have portrayed him on the radio include Orson Welles.
Okay.
Who didn't he portray him? I mean, really.
Yeah, he was the Shadow, for God's sakes.
Yeah. He was also portrayed, of course, by Basil Rathbone on the radio as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Conway. Let's see. John Stanley also was there, and John Gielgud in the 50s.
Okay, nice. I always liked radio. When I was growing up, WJR in Detroit used to on Sunday afternoons play old radio shows.
Nice.
That's where I got my love of Lone Ranger and Fibber McGee and Molly and Jack Benny. And there was like one of the ones that was like the Chiller Theater or something. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it had some really awesome, short stories that were scary as hell.
Mm-hmm. We just need to do a radio episode sometime.
Yeah, we do. I have to go track a bunch of them down because I've got Mail Call on my computer. Mail Call was a one that was made specifically for the United States military during World War II, and it was actually shipped around to various theaters in the war on really tough vinyl, so it could be played for the troops.
Nice.
Anyway, let's continue on. 2000s, we've got. Oh, I'm sorry. I would be totally remiss if I missed Jeremy Brett.
Yes.
Okay, Jeremy Brett was a British actor
who
played Sherlock Holmes from 85 to 93, and he is considered the West's premier Sherlock Holmes. He played him with, who's the guy's name? David Burke. Okay. Originally it was David Burke playing Dr. Watson, and he was later replaced by Edward Hardwicke, who played Watson for the remainder of the run. Of the 60 Sherlock Holmes stories written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, 42 were actually adapted, spanning 36 one-hour episodes and 5 feature-length specials, which is not a bad run if you consider it. But he was fantastic. He was really well cast. Unfortunately, he was not the healthiest human being alive.
Right.
So he was unable to continue on with the series. He really wanted to finish it. He wanted to be the first actor to ever finish all the Sherlock Holmes stories. No one's ever managed to pull it off.
That's true. Nobody has.
Yeah, but they did well over, 41 episodes, which is not a bad run.
No.
But it was shot in Manchester. They actually built a full outdoor replica of Baker Street, and was part of a tourist attraction before the venue closed in 1999.
Right.
It also included some other earlier actors just got their start doing this, like Jude Law was on it, and what's her name, Marina Sirtis?
You mean Deanna Troy? Sirtis?
Yeah, Marina Sirtis was on there, shouting Greek, which was kind of funny. But no, it was really, really well done. I definitely recommend picking it up if you get a chance.
Okay.
It's one of the best ones they've ever done. Then we've got Matt Frewer, of all people. Played him in four television movies: The Haunted of Baskervilles, The Royal Scandal, The Sign of Four, and The Case of the Whitechapel Vampire.
Shh.
I'm sorry, I just cannot buy Matt Frewer as Sherlock Holmes. Can you?
I mean, sure, but not really.
Yeah. And then we basically get into modern day, and there was a resurgence of Sherlock Holmes. I think if you really wanted to call it down, it got kicked off by Robert Downey Jr. in 2009 in the Sherlock Holmes movie.
Yes.
Starring Jude Law as Dr. Watson. And I enjoyed him. I mean, they took a different tact of Sherlock Holmes, because in the books they do say that he's an excellent boxer, he's a very intelligent guy, very good fighter. But they really never show that in any of the productions. I mean, they'll show him beating some guy from time to time. Like in 7% Solution, they showed him.
I lost you for a second there.
What?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Dan. Fuck.
Hello?
You still there? Hello?
Yeah, what happened?
For some reason, the signal cut out.
Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Hello?
Huh. Still pretty fuzzy on your side, too.
Weird.
Okay, I'm still here, too. Still recording.
Yep, same.
Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. What?
I'm still here. You're just staticky.
I'm staticky?
Yeah.
Okay, you're starting to clear up now.
Yeah, so are you.
Okay, cool.
All right, great.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Right.
You can cut that in. Anyway, 2009 saw Sherlock Holmes, played by Robert Downey Jr., in the Sherlock Holmes book, which was Sherlock Holmes movie, which was based on an original story. And it wasn't half bad. It showed Sherlock as a different side of Sherlock we normally don't see. In the books, he is said to be a great boxer. He studies Baritsu, which is actually a corruption of the word Bartitsu, which was a very early mixed martial art invented by a guy named Robert Bartlett, who had spent time in Japan helping them get up and running as a Western-style superpower. With architecture and such. And he studied judo and karate and mixed it together with various, Greco-Roman wrestling and savate, which is a French martial art, and boxing. And supposedly Sherlock Holmes was a practitioner of this.
Right.
So they threw in Bartitsu moves as he was doing them in the Sherlock Holmes movies. And it goes from there, really. You got Sherlock the same year. Or actually, 2010. You had Benedict Cumberbatch cast as Sherlock,
right?
Which is the updated version. I think what killed me on that one. This is honestly why it killed me on the new Sherlock. First episode, Sherlock and Dr. Watson are chasing a cab because they think the bad guy's in the cab.
Yes.
And they finally catch the cab. They whip open the door, and it's just some dumb American tourist. They're like, oh darn it, we must have been fooled. And my first thought, literally the first thing that came out of my mouth is, check the taxi driver. check the fucking Taxi Driver.
Mm.
If I can outthink Sherlock, something is wrong. I mean, maybe it's, Sherlock's own prejudices, because they even said no one ever pays attention to Taxi Driver. I'm like, no, this is Sherlock. He thinks every option through. So I think that's why I don't particularly care for the show.
And the other one is so much better?
Elementary, you mean?
Yeah.
I've never really outthought it that way. I think it was just because it was so glaringly obvious.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, maybe I need to give it another chance. I mean, I've got the summer we can do a follow-up on Sherlock Holmes. But anyway.
Makes sense to me.
Now, let's see what else we got. One of the strangest things I found with Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show out of Japan that just came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a puppet Sherlock Holmes.
And I know you love your puppets.
Not these puppets, man. These are creepy.
You got a link?
Sure.
Share with the rest of the class here.
Holmes puppets.
One of the weirdest ones that I've ever seen is a straight-to-DVD Sherlock Holmes movie that was had Gareth David Lloyd of Yanto Jones fame as Dr. Watson.
Yeah, I saw that with the dinosaurs.
With the and the weird steampunk, it was bad.
It made me giggle. I'm sorry.
It was bad.
It was very bad, but it made me giggle. Okay,
Bad.
Okay, I'm sending you this picture right now. This is what Sherlock Holmes looks like in this puppetry show. It's basically Sherlock Holmes' recast.
Oh my god!
It's recast as if it's a British boarding school where Dr. Watson has just come from Australia as opposed to Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets moved into the Baker wing of this school, 221B, haha.
Aha.
And Sherlock is no one stays with Sherlock more than a couple days because he drives everyone insane.
Makes sense to me.
And it's all in Japanese. And I've tried watching one of the episodes, and I'm just like, I'm thoroughly confused, and I'm too old to deal with this shit anymore. So,
Jesus Christ.
Oh, and that's just Sherlock. There's even worse looking. Dr. Watson looks absolutely terrifying. Here's another picture.
Oh no.
Okay. Watson's in the background here. Okay.
Okay.
So I apologize. No, really, I don't.
He's a rejected Oompa Loompa?
Apparently. No, it's a combination. It's like rod puppets and marionettes. The mouths never move, but the eyes do. And each of the stories is very vaguely based on one of the Sherlock Holmes stories. So I really haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it. I apologize to our loyal 12 viewers, but it is just a stupid looking show.
That is nightmare fuel.
Mm.
That is... Good Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, Holmes meets 007? Good lord. No, I'm just taking a look at other stuff. There's been a lot of non-canonical Sherlock Holmes works.
Of course.
And there's so much about Sherlock Holmes you can cover. Now, I have been reading a series by a guy named... sorry.
Go on.
Amazon is good for finding, stuff to feed my Sherlock Holmes addictions.
Shocker.
And one of the things I've been reading is called the Mary Russell series by Laurie R. King.
Mm-hmm.
There's been about 12 novels right now. And this is another one of those that comes very close to being a Mary Sue character.
Oh, no.
She's a 15-year-old girl who meets a 54-year-old Sherlock Holmes and becomes his apprentice.
Is this the Beekeeper's Apprentice?
Yes.
I was going to say, we would be remiss without mentioning this. At the very
right,
least.
That's one of the ones I'm reading right now. I have not read the rest of them. I've just started it up on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Sherlock Holmes, and it's not a huge spoiler if I say this, but essentially, when she becomes of age, they get married more of as a marriage of convenience, because he has no one to leave his fortune to, and she's has no other interest in anyone romantically besides him. But she's intelligent, she's witty, she's smart, She's very interested in theology, which blows Sherlock Holmes' mind.
I can understand that.
Mm. And it's been going on for a while, and they're well written. They're very well written stories.
That's what I hear.
Definitely give it a shot if you get a chance.
I have a copy floating around here somewhere. I'm sure I'll read it at some point.
Another one that I really like is called the Gaslight series, which is the Gaslight series is a set of 3 anthologies of short fiction combining the character of Sherlock Holmes with elements of fantasy, horror, adventure, and supernatural fiction.
I remember seeing some fan art for this.
Yeah, the books are the Gaslight Grimoire, the Gaslight Grotesque, and the Gaslight Arcana. And two of the books or stories are written by one of my favorite authors, Stephen Volk, who is, I've mentioned him on the show before, wrote the amazing movie Ghost Watch.
Yes.
And they basically deal with some really creepy stuff. Basically, the story Hounded is the real tale of the Hound of Baskervilles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one that was really creepy. There's just a number of really creepy short stories. They're really funny. Plus, each of the books ends with what am I trying to say? Oh, a story told from the point of Sebastian and Moran and Dr. Moriarty.
Okay.
And they're funny as shit.
Oh boy.
Including one guy who basically was making Moriarty look like a fool because of his meteorite knowledge. So Moriarty convinced him that aliens were invading the Earth.
Brilliant.
Yes, and he did it perfectly. Another one where Moriarty decided to set all of his semi-enemies against each other, and they all end up killing each other right on his doorstep.
Nice.
While Moran's sitting there going, "What just happened?" One of the worst ones I've read, though, was Sherlock Holmes versus the Living Dead.
Oh, no.
And it was basically Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson running across Europe toward Reichenbach Falls for a confrontation with Moriarty, who has raised an army of the living dead. And it was just awful. I finished it. I went through it because I managed to get it for free, but it is a really bad book.
I feel for you.
Yep. What was the other one I read? I just read it a couple months ago.
I couldn't say.
Okay, The Boy Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. I think I remember you mentioning this to me at work.
It's a series of novels by Shane Peacock. Bleh, are the childhood exploits of the famous fictional detective Sherlock Holmes. There were 6 books: Eye of the Crow, Death in the Air, Vanishing Girl, Secret Fiend, Dragon Turn, and Becoming Holmes. But they were really good up to the final book. Because all these characters have been introduced. They introduced the young Lestrade. Now, for those who don't know who Lestrade is, he's one of the 2 or 3 inspectors who work with Sherlock Holmes in the original Doyle stories.
Mm-hmm.
He's described as a very ferret-looking gentleman. But in this story, it's got the young Lestrade, old Lestrade, his father, M, who grows up to be Moriarty, and Irene Adler,
right,
as a young girl named Irene Doyle. They sneak in all these little references to the original stories, or the lives, or to the life of Sherlock Holmes, or the life people that inspired Sherlock Holmes. Like his mentor in the series is named Isaiah Bell, as in Joseph Bell.
Right.
But I don't feel like I'm ruining anything by the end, because this way maybe I can save people from how crappy the ending was. Essentially, Sherlock orders everyone to forget that he ever existed, and they do. Irene moves off to become an actress, and they have been together for 5 books.
Yeah.
And it's like, we should never talk of our time together. I agree. And then, Scandal Bohemia happens, and it's like, wait, what? It's like, Moriarty, you shall never, I shall hunt you down. No, you won't. You'll never remember who I am. You're right. I won't remember who you are. And
Forgeticus.
And then it was Lestrade. It's like, we should never talk about our time working together. I agree. And that was how the books ended. I'm like, seriously? The fuck, guys?
Forgeticus.
Yeah, it was essentially like, he pulled a Harry Potter spell on these people or something. Waved Neville Longbottom's giant wand at him.
And on that note, I think we should move on to our Thou Shalt Not this time around.
Okay.
Now, this week's Thou Shalt Not was almost a drop in the bucket to figure out. Because there are just some things that you never want to see done with Sherlock Holmes. Especially actors you never want to see played. You never want to see certain actors play Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
So this week's Thou Shalt Not is Thou Shalt Not have this actor play Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, no. Well, I know the first one off the top of my head.
Go for it.
Thou shalt never have Sherlock Holmes played by Adam Sandler.
Yes, because fuck that.
Fuck that. Fuck anything involving Adam Sandler. And besides, Chris Farley would have made a great Dr. Watson. And since he's dead, screw it.
Thou shalt not ever have Carrot Top play Sherlock Holmes.
That's a kind of a terrifying concept already.
And then have Pauly Shore as his
Dr.
Watson.
Watson?
Yeah.
Thou shalt not have Ron Jeremy play Sherlock Holmes.
Jesus.
With Peter North as Dr. Watson. I know, I've never actually seen a porn of Sherlock Holmes. I'm not saying I want to.
I'm sure there is some out there.
I'm sure there is too, but I've never actually seen one. I'm like, huh, interesting. I refuse to go looking, because Lord knows there's enough porn parodies. Oh, I forgot to tell you about this one. There was a poster made for the 30th anniversary of Goonies.
Uh-huh.
And it's 30 written in Roman numerals, so it's Goonies XXX. And I swear to God, my first thought was, oh dear God, they made a Goonies porn parody.
Bad touch.
They didn't, thank God, but still.
Yeah, still. Bad touch.
Alright,
Thou shalt not have, what was his name? Fuck, I can't remember.
what's he done?
John Rhys Davies. There we go. As Sherlock Holmes.
I can actually see that. He's a good actor.
He's a good actor, but I don't think he really fits the part.
Literally. It kind of goes with my next thought was like Danny DeVito as Sherlock Holmes. Actually, no. Here's one. Christopher Lloyd as Sherlock Holmes with Danny DeVito as Watson.
That'd be pretty rad.
That wouldn't be bad at all. I mean, Christopher Lloyd's played some interesting characters in his life.
Another one of those. Thou shalt totally have this play. These two. Dame Helen Mirren as Sherlock Holmes, and Dame Judi Dench as Dr. Watson.
Interesting remake there.
I'd love to see it because they're badasses.
Yeah, we did forget to mention that there's a new Sherlock Holmes movie coming out.
Oh, is there?
It's called Mr. Holmes. It stars Ian McKellen as a very, very elderly Sherlock Holmes.
Cool.
Basically, he plays him as a 90-year-old, and then as a younger guy in his 60s, which is where Ian McKellen is right now.
Right.
It's about one of his old cases he never solves. And I've read the original novel it's based on, and it's actually pretty good. I mentioned it on the show, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But it's a very well written novel. It's kind of scattershot, which is interesting because it's basically how Sherlock's brain is going by the time he's in his 90s.
Ooh.
He's very annoyed with the fact that he can't remember things as perfect as he used to.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, everyone he knows has passed away. I mean, Watson is gone. Lestrade is gone. Gregson is gone. And he basically lives, he still studies his bees, and he lives with a housekeeper and her son. And it's just life,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really depressing.
Mm-hmm. But there's a movie based on it coming out, so. Yeah.
Thou shalt not have Keanu Reeves as Sherlock Holmes.
And Alex Winter playing Dr. Watson.
I knew you'd go there. I knew you'd go there.
How can I help it? Ice Cube. Ice Cube should never do a hip-hop update of Sherlock Holmes.
Does that mean Dr. Dre is Watson?
No, Dr. Dre is Moriarty. Snoop Dogg is Watson.
Oh! Jesus. Is that a kizzle?
Is this a study in Scarlezel? You ever notice how much, Doyle had something in for the Mormons?
Good for him.
No, seriously, you read the Study in Scarlet, like half the books about how much the Mormons suck.
Speaking as a member for 12 years, good for him.
Yeah. Oh, I told my dad the sequel, the joke about, the Gideon Bible, people trying to push the Gideon on you. Like, not only do I have the original book, I've got the sequel. He thought it was funny.
Actually, I gave away my sequel.
Ah.
Yeah,
I gave a book.
I gave it away.
Bookshelf.
Yeah, I gave it away to a friend many years ago. I basically told him, do what you want with it. I hate this thing.
No, I have it on my bookshelf next to my real Bible.
There you go.
Well, as real as you can honestly get. I mean, so, don't get me wrong. I think the Bible is a wonderful, messy, fantastic, horrible, amazing piece of literature that you can live by. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's been translated so weirdly over the years.
Exactly. What's the old joke? It's celebrate, not celibate.
It celebrates. Priests are supposed to celebrate. Okay, anyway, let's see here. Who else we got? Jaden Smith should never play Sherlock Holmes. Young boy Sherlock Holmes.
And Justin Bieber is Watson.
Ah! Yeah. It'll be the first time I actually root for the bad guys.
Crush him!
Chinese Sherlock Holmes would be kind of interesting. I wonder if there's been one.
Tiny Sherlock Holmes?
No, Chinese Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, Chinese Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I mean, Japan's already proved they're obsessed with Sherlock Holmes. What about a Chinese Sherlock Holmes? I mean, he seems to embody the Chinese ideals of intelligence.
This is true.
Yeah, I wonder if there's one. I'll have to look around. Let's see who else we got. I already said Ron Jeremy. Fran Drescher as the female Sherlock Holmes.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna draw a blank on this one. Who?
The nanny.
From
Fran Drescher. She played the nanny. Showing my age, aren't I?
Probably.
Sorry, man. Okay. Back up. Try it again.
Beep, beep, beep.
Now, I would honestly watch a Sherlock Holmes parody starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Please? That'd be awesome. I could totally dig that.
It's directed by Edgar Wright.
Brilliant.
And they could do it any way they want. They could just have it in any room, and I would watch it. I think that's it. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's it for me, too.
Okay. Well, I got to talk about one of my favorite characters, so yay!
And most of this episode was just me being reactive, but still, cool.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of Sherlock Holmes out there. Basically, if you guys are interested, just go to Amazon, type in Sherlock Holmes, and you'll just get page upon page upon page of everything you want. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to talk about the Sherlock Holmes societies, and there used to be a resort down in Florida called the Grosnover.
Like you said, we need to just do a follow-up.
Yeah, but there was like people build Sherlock Holmes' sitting room in their basements. I mean, down to the details, as far as they can get. You can, there's one place that was it's like in Pittsburgh. I wanted to go visit. You can arrange a personal visitation to go sit in there. It's just amazing. Plus, there's an actual Sherlock Holmes museum now at 221 B. Baker Street.
Yes.
So, anyway, we will talk about this later. I'll make more notes. So, I guess that's about it.
All right. And so, from all of us here at Radioactive Walrus Entertainment, the Experiment Room, and Dan's house.
Hello.
This has been Late Night Taco Delivery.
You may now place your order.
Late Night Taco Delivery is performed by Daniel Gill and Jonathan Knoll, and was created by Daniel Gill. New Bizarre opening by Jonathan Knoll. If you have questions, comments, or a suggestion for a future show, drop us a line on Twitter at Radio Walrus Pod. Like Radioactive Walrus Entertainment on our Facebook, or subscribe to our official YouTube channel, Radioactive Walrus. That's Radioactive with a capital R, Walrus with a capital W, and no spaces. Thank you for calling Late Night Taco Delivery. You may now place your orders. This has been a production of Radioactive Walrus Entertainment.
John, what do chickens say?